referring to, they don't care how many people they tread on, how many people they make bankrupt, how many people's ranches they take over and build condos on. They don't care as long as they take charge globally. It's the same with our prime ministers now. They all, the moment they stop being prime minister here, they queue up to get jobs in the European Union or the UN. That's where the real ambition now is. And because these institutions at global level are not elected by anyone, they are all totalitarian institutions by nature, because it's only if you have an injection of democracy into a system that you have any hope of getting anything recognizable as freedom, except by sheer luck. And because we have not yet made sure that the international institutions that represent us are elected, these totalitarian institutions are increasingly taking real power from countries where you still elect your governments, as you do, for instance, in the United States. We don't in Britain anymore. We have elections, but they're for mere clerks. We don't elect the people who govern us. Those are the unelected bureaucrats of the European dictatorship. But you still have elections. But it doesn't matter who you elect. What Obama has been doing is going around signing foreign treaties, because under your constitution, he worked out that the Constitution was an obstacle to him, and the way around it was in the Constitution itself. If he signs a foreign treaty, that doesn't just bind this Congress. Even if he's voted out of office and nobody wants that particular provision anymore, once it's in an international treaty, often made with just one other left-wing country doing the same thing, then that becomes part of the permanent international law, and you don't have the power unilaterally, even if you all vote for it, to repudiate that treaty. So that's what he's doing. And increasingly, this battle is going to have to be fought at the international level. And there are two ways one could do this. One can try oneself to take over these institutions of totalitarianism, but they won't let anyone like you or me anywhere near it. You have to subscribe to this culture of corruption in order to get away with it. What we're going to have to do, Alex, it's very ambitious, I'm just beginning to work it out now with my friend, is to establish parallel, independent, democratically elected institutions, a new United Nations that is elected, a new World Bank that is elected, so that no longer will these old totalitarian institutions have any money, any power, any standing, or any right to interfere in how we live. We're going to need a new constitution of freedom internationally, not just in individual states. It's desirable there too, but internationally. We now have to club together in a way that, as we were saying at the outset, we do not, as individualists, naturally do. And so I'm proposing to found an institute. It's just going to be called Freedom. And it's going to be open to anyone in the world who subscribes to democratic principles of government, so that the power resides firmly, as it does in the United States Constitution, at least in theory, in the hands not of the government, but of the people, who can make and unmake governments at will. That's what we're going to have to do, and we're going to have to do it quite fast, because freedom is dying very rapidly. Your Republican Party is not fighting for it. The Conservative Party here has abandoned it, which is why today the United Kingdom Independence Party is about to become the largest British party in the European Parliament. And it's going to be such a stunning result for UKIP that the totalitarians will be rocked back on their heels, because we have been quietly building for years to make absolutely sure that at least on our continent, freedom does not die.
No, I know, and I follow the news as your party that you founded 20-something years ago, or whatever it was, explodes in popularity and is duplicated across Europe. They're openly calling for shutting you down, saying you're racist when you're the opposite of it. I mean, saying UKIP is, and just really using classic Marxist tactics. And that's what I wanted to ask you, Lord Monckton, is that clearly, I mean, I saw last year where the French socialists, to a man almost, and a woman, are exempt from the EU taxes, as the EU bureaucrats are. I mean, total discrimination, classical tyranny, and that then they almost all have Swiss bank accounts and don't pay their national taxes, but have raised taxes on the nouveau riche and wealthy in France to 101% to bankrupt their competition. I mean, this is a lawless hyper-tyranny. And as Nigel Farage, your colleague and leader of the party, becomes more and more popular, to see them so threatened, it shows that they can be defeated. But as you said, we have to accurately state how radically bad they are. But people in England, people in Europe, people here in the U.S. tend to be more gentlemanly. Conservatives tend to be more friendly, and we don't want to come out and say these are bloodthirsty tyrants, but they are. So how do you up the rhetoric to match the reality is what I'm saying.
Well, what we've done in UKIP, and we've done it very quietly but with increasing success, we have a brilliant leader, Nigel Farage, who is an ordinary working bloke who just decided he wanted his country back. And for years, he got nowhere. He went round all the pubs in the southeast of England, one every night, talking to people saying, we can't let this go on. And they were all horrified at what he was telling them about how this political class was trying to take away all their democratic rights and powers. And they were appalled. And gradually, he built UKIP into an enormous and very successful fighting force. It's about to do very, very well in the European elections, precisely because all the other parties here in Scotland, all the other parties have ganged up against us. And they've said, whatever you do, don't vote UKIP. We're all agreed we don't want UKIP. Of course they are, because they don't want their gravy train to hit the buffers. They don't want it to tip into the gulch. They want to go on being able to prey upon us, to put up their ludicrous wind farms all over the beautiful parts of Scotland, to run everybody out of money with excessive power prices, to make everybody the slaves of a tyranny that they cannot remove and cannot hold to account. And we have simply said, here is what they're actually doing to you. We've described it. And we have used the kind of language that conservatives don't usually use. We've called them tyrants. We've called them communists. We've called them exactly what they are.
That's it. The only way to defeat them, they always say, turn down your rhetoric, you'll be successful. No, that's why we fail. We must go all the way. We must tell the truth.
Of course, one has to be sensible in the way one puts the point across. As I've said to you before, I regard you as being just about on the outer fringe of where one can safely be. Any further, and you're off into outer space. But the thing is, yes, there has to be a certain common sense in how we express ourselves, but we can be a great deal more vigorous than your average limp-wristed panty waist from the GOP National Committee is. We can do a lot more than they are doing. And in UKIP, we're showing...
Well, sure, but let me respond to that. I mean, look, I need to be a radicalizer and go all the way, hit the barbed wire first to shake people out of their days, and then they can come along and find Ron Paul and Rand Paul and Lord Monckton.
Exactly, and you're quite right about that, and I fully understand your place in the spectrum, as it were. But the point is this, Alex. You're doing very good work, and there's no doubt about this. You have a massive audience and a devoted audience. I get correspondence every time I'm on the air with you because people like to hear the Monckton dimension on all this. And they are now waiting for leadership to go to the next stage. They're waiting for what we have done in UKIP to be done not just in individual nations.
And the establishment admits they're worried about an American-style UKIP party. I mean, that's what
Of course they are, and with good reason, because if there were one, it would have much greater chance of success than ever it had here in the UK, because you are instinctive libertarians in the United States. The vast majority of your population are libertarians, not, of course, in the central cities where they're all on government handouts and paid for by Obama, but everybody else, all the working people.
Absolutely. Sir, we're out of time. Scienceandpublicpolicy.org. Thanks for all the time. Keep doing a great job. There he goes from England, Lord Christopher Monckton. I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com. Stay with us.